Go for it.
All right, the next phase after we have this all locked in is to do what we call the gable end, okay? You have to look at how your roof is going to be designed, and you have to look at the triangular corner that we form to rest on here. And then, of course, the rest of the roof is going to form around that gable end, but the gable end is where we start. Now, if you're in school, I have this tool right here, and you kind of use it as a protractor. There's a little hole right there, and the zero line is right down here. This, if you probably can't see it, but that says 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the slope, okay? A 5 and 12 slope. In other words, for every 12 inches horizontally, we would go up 5, and that would establish the slope, right? So a 5 and 12 slope is pretty common on ranch homes. It's a fairly low slope. On a 2-story, a lot of times we'll use a 6, 7, or an 8. Okay, they're pretty common slopes. And of course, you see they're getting a little steeper. If you have a Cape Cod, which has attic space that's going to be used for bedrooms, you're going to use a 12-12, which is all the way up here. So in other words, that's a 45-degree angle. 12 inches horizontally, 12 inches vertically. So that's really steep, okay? Now, if you're at home, you could use a regular protractor and just pick a slope. It's not that critical. It's a model, okay? You could even use something like this, to establish the slope. One on one side, the other side, you can kind of figure out how to make that work. But let me clue you in as to how you would start this. First of all, we need a straight edge. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this right on the edge, and I'm simply going to mark the depth. This is called the span of the house. Half of the span is called the run. When a carpenter does calculations for a roof, they use the run. Okay? We're marking the span. Now, what I'll do is, pretend this is a protractor. Take the little hole, lay it on there, right on the zero line, and we are going to use an 8, maybe on this. So that would be right about here. I'm just going to put a little dot there, okay? So zero is here, 8 is there. Then I'll have to take some sort of a straight edge, and I'll have to draw it. Okay, a little further than it needs to go. And then I'll simply take this, flip it around 180 degrees, lay the 0 on the bottom again, mark the 8. Same way, I'm just sort of putting a little dot there just so I can see it. And then from that corner through the dot, that's my gable end right there. If you're using a protractor, like I said, pick something. If I lay this on here, an 8-12 is, well, in this respect, it's 33 degrees. I truly am not worried about you getting on an exact slope, although this will do it for you automatically. Now, once you do this, you should do what we did before. Cut it out with the blade, nice low cuts, okay? And then I would immediately make at least one more. With this design, I'm making an assumption here. With this design, we would cut a second one out. One is going to get glued directly onto here. The other one's going to get glued onto here, so we get a nice flat plane. And then the front is going to be a little bit different where it comes in. Maybe a third gable runs into the side here. Okay? But right now, think through what you're doing here. Make at least 2. And to be honest with you, we found over the years that if you make one spare, it's a good idea, because the spare tends to be used to establish another gable somewhere else, because you almost always have something else somewhere. Okay? In a little bit, we'll show you what it looks like after these are cut out and glued onto here. Thank you.